we showed you this before. Iran is not messing around. They're saying that, hey, we're taking control of the Strait, and we're the boss now, and they're exerting their strength, and the United States can't do shit about it.
What?
A new chapter of the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz is unfolding. Iran's new management of the Strait of Hormuz and the corresponding legal framework will secure comfort and progress for the benefit of all nations in the region. So there's been reports that they shot at an American ship and the ship turned around. Very credible reports that happened.
Under fire?
I don't think they hit the ship, but they certainly shot at it, and they amscrayed. And I want to show you this. Breaking footage of UAE. So this is the United Arab Emirates. So now they are attacking a ship from the United. This is Iran. This is real. This has been, as far as I know, this has been verified. Footage of UAE ship on fire after being struck near the Strait of Hormuz. So that's the United Arab Emirates. They're in bed with Israel. Israel sent soldiers to the United Arab Emirates to help start and launch the attack on Iran at the beginning of the war. So that's what. So let's watch. This is. So that's happening. Boom. So that's happening. That's real. There's been reports that Iran hit Kuwait City. They didn't. That's an old video that's circulating today. But they did do this. And they also did this. UAE reports missiles and drone strikes incoming from Iran. So they're taking out their oil. They're not messing around. Why? Because they're in bed with Israel, and they're not messing around. Air defenses in the United Arab Emirates have intercepted missiles and incoming. Yeah, but they got hit. And let me. Oh yeah. Back. Let me just read this to you. It has been confirmed that Iran conducted a series of drone strikes on the Fujairah oil industry zone in the United Arab Emirates. The major cause of this escalation by Tehran was the announcement and subsequent launch of a Project Freedom on the morning of May 4th, 2026. While the U.S. government claims this is a humanitarian effort, the Project Freedom effort to help neutral ships, Iran has explicitly warned that any U.S.-led attempt to escort ships would constitute a clear violation of the ceasefire. Early this morning, the U.S. mobilized a massive force, including 15,000 service members, over 100 land and sea-based aircraft, and several guided missile destroyers to facilitate the transit of stranded commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. How'd that work out? As a response, Iran launched a barrage of 12 ballistic missiles and 3 cruise missiles targeting several sites across the United Arab Emirates. This was mainly intended to send a warning signal to the U.S. government to retreat and test the response time of the UAE's THAAD and Patriot missiles defense systems. But this did not deter the U.S. government. In fact, the U.S. responded by engaging and sinking 6 to 7 small Iranian boats that CENTCOM claimed were allegedly attempting to harass the Project Freedom convoy. As a response to this, Iran retaliated with a targeted drone strike utilizing loitering munitions to hit the oil industry zone inside the United Arab Emirates on their eastern coast. Fujairah is the terminus for the Abu Dhabi crude oil pipeline, which allows the United Arab Emirates to export oil without entering the Strait of Hormuz, and thus allows them to sell at least a small percentage of their oil. Now you may be asking, why is Iran not engaging the U.S. warships instead of targeting the United Arab Emirates? Iran knows that they cannot win a conventional battle against a superpower like the U.S. that is equipped with the biggest naval fleets in the world, unmatched carrier strike groups, advanced stealth technology, and overwhelming satellite-guided precision. So instead, Iran is targeting U.S. allies in the region. Since the pipeline targeted allowed the UAE to bypass the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is signaling that if they are not allowed to sell their oil, no one in the region is allowed to sell their oil either. This is not just about striking U.S. allies to bully them into diplomatically forcing the U.S. to withdraw all aggressions. Understand that the U.S. empire in the Middle East was built on the foundation of the petrodollar and the guarantee of the free flow of energy. This was a historic deal they struck with Saudi Arabia and, by extension, OPEC. The United States guaranteed the military survival of the Gulf monarchies. In exchange, these nations agreed to price and sell their oil exclusively in U.S. dollars. Because every country on earth needs oil, every country on earth suddenly needed to hold vast reserves of U.S. dollars. This made the United States dollar the reserve currency of the world. Mm-hmm. This also allows the United States to print money and run massive deficits that other countries essentially subsidize by holding U.S. dollars. By striking the Fujairah terminal, the bypass, Iran is proving that the United States can no longer guarantee the flow of energy. Previous airstrikes had already forced the UAE to exit OPEC, which they did. If tensions escalate further in the Persian Gulf, they may be forced to sell their oil in other currencies to balance their books, which directly challenges the U.S. petrodollar. Mm-hmm. So while the U.S. blockade is hurting Iran's economy, Tehran is responding by striking the heart of the U.S. empire in the Middle East. That's happening.
Yeah. Well, I guess we got to get that central digital currency, Jimmy. Almost like they knew this would happen and they want it to happen. So you're going to be in that currency. And we have that beautiful ballroom to control the currency from. And we already have the cars that can turn off and on at a whim by the AI. So we're going to crash every part of America. And then you're going to be grateful when the Noah High Tech Nate comes in.
So this is already going to crash. This is already going to hurt the American economy a lot more than you think. Because the Gulf states are not able to sell their oil. What do they do with their money? A lot of their money that they get from oil sales. They put it in the U.S. stock market. They put it in U.S. tech companies. They put it in U.S. AI. And now they don't have any money. They are not allowed to sell their oil. So if you don't think this is going to hurt the U.S. economy way more than it has already, you're wrong about that. And they're showing you they have the ability to do that. Not only do they have the ability to do that, but if Trump restarts the war and starts attacking Iran and their infrastructure, Iran has the ability to take out the desalination plants inside all the Gulf states. So you do that, and if they can't get clean water in 72 hours, it's a humanitarian crisis, and everybody has to leave those countries.
Well, that's almost better than a nuke.
It's almost better than a nuke. So I'm not making that up. That's real. And you're not going to hear that on Fox News. But you are going to hear that here because it's true. And so that's the only thing I think that's been keeping Donald Trump from restarting this war, because he knows what they can do. And there they are. They're not, hey, we're not messing around. If we can't sell our oil, nobody can sell their oil. That's what Iran is saying. And they're proving it. They're proving it right now.
Short-term pain, long-term gain, Jimmy. I like to just say short-term pain, long-term gain.
So we might be able to put a big hurt on the Iran. We might be able to knock out their oil infrastructure. We might be able to knock out their desalination plants. But guess what? They have the ability to do that to the entire Gulf state region. And they've got lots and lots of missiles to do it, no matter what you hear on Fox News. And so if you don't believe me, here is David Pine. I showed this in another video. I'll show it to you again. He's the Deputy Executive Director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security.
Well, we've heard that about 13 U.S. out of 19 U.S. Military bases in the region have been destroyed or rendered unusable. I think that's likely accurate. So the cost to rebuild those would run into the several billion, if not tens of billions of dollars. And
it's going to take, it's more than that, and it's going to take years and years to rebuild those bases. Okay.
Take years to rebuild.
I mean, how could that have happened? I mean, you know, a lot of people now saying they have a newfound respect for General Kane, Chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I mean, that's 13 bases destroyed and rendered unusable. Aren't you shocked?
I'm not shocked at all.
No.
I mean, those bases were located, pretty close to Iran. Iran is a tremendous, it's essentially a missile regional power, even superpower. They have a vast.
It's a. Did you already said it? It's a regional power and a missile superpower.
What? But if they get nukes,
right? They don't need them. Here we go.
A number of missiles, likely greater number of missiles even than the United States has in terms of ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. And
they have more missiles than the U.S. in terms of ballistic missiles. And what other kind?
Has in terms of ballistic missiles and cruise missiles and heavy combat drones. Certainly, the U.S. has a lot of light to medium, shorter range drones. We have
because we exhausted a lot of our munitions in Ukraine because we thought we were going to be able to do to Russia what we're trying to do to Iran. We thought we were going to be able to wreck it and balkanize it, split it up, get Putin overthrown, and have BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street come in and buy up the country. That's what we thought was going to happen. Russia is now stronger than their economy is way stronger than it was before the Ukraine war. Part of it is because the oil prices have now doubled because of the Iranian war, and they're raking the money in. We had to take the sanctions off of Russian oil. The United States did that. So now Russia's selling their oil all over the place. Here we go.
Superiority over Iran in that area. But, they have some of the best large combat drones in the world. And they were able to, destroy some of our bases using combat drones because the U.S., drone defense capabilities are, not what they should have been. And the U.S. prioritized air missile defense for Israel rather than our Gulf allies. So we showed that the U.S. military guarantee over our Gulf allies was really, very shoddy and unreliable.
So we can't defend the United Arab Emirates. We can't defend Saudi Arabia. We can't defend Bahrain, Kuwait. We can't defend these places. And Iran knows that. And so does the United States military, and so does General Kane, the head of the chief joints of staff. Am I saying that correctly? I think so.
Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Joint Chiefs of Staff. I'm saying it messed up. But anyway, so they know that. So that's what that was today. Trump thinks he's going to do Operation Freedom or whatever it's, and we're going to escort ships through the Strait. That's not happening. And that's what Iran's letting you know. They control the Strait. Even if we go and hit them hard, they have all their missiles. They have more missiles than we do. And they have them underground, and we can't get to them. And again, we can't do a land invasion of Iraq would be a complete disaster. They tried to do a mini land invasion, and it was a complete disaster. That whole bullshit story about how they had to go in and they saved a pilot and it was a victory. That was them trying to cover the fact that they tried to do a land invasion and the Iran crushed them. So that was a BS story.
Listen,
and
Krav Maga has never worked. Sorry.
Ha!
We could all stab someone with a pen. That's not karate.
Yeah. I can put my keys in my fist and hit you. That's not going to...
Yeah, we could all get weapons from a more powerful country and use them to kill kids. It's not a martial art.
So anyway, just again, if you watch the show, you get it. There's a lot of people, when I'm on social media, Twitter is the only one I go on. They're obviously uninformed. The people who are listening to their MAGA social media and the Fox News are 100% being misinformed about the actual reality there. Donald Trump has declared victory in this war about 15 times already. And if that was true, why are we still in a war? And
my brain is full, okay?
Okay, people. Okay,
I don't need to know new things, Jimmy.
So that's and when Trump makes these kind of statements, this is a guy blustering. Listen.
Sandra, good afternoon. I spoke with President Trump for 20 minutes about the situation with Iran. He talked about Project Freedom and the U.S. efforts to guide vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, issuing a new warning to the Iranian regime, saying if the Iranians try to target U.S. ships in this area, they will be, quote, blown off the face of the earth. Remember, this was a project.
Okay, remember, that's not happening. He's been saying that forever.
That's like how he blew Clinton off the face of the earth, or when he blew Larry Loomer.
So I just want to remind you, they're not messing around.
Yeah,
they're
gonna blow it.
This is Iran getting it done, and they're also hitting the United Arab Emirates. They thought they were gonna do some land oil shipments. They stopped those too.
Oh, and their weather thing we put there, right? That was
That's
the first
correct.
thing they blew up.
And so
then their drought ended.
They blew up the weather modification in UAE, and now it was raining like crazy in Iran, and their drought is over. And all their reservoirs are full. Just so you know. So
did we get the uranium that Liberty Levin wanted?
That right?
Get the uranium.
Again, this is not me. I could give a shit about Donald Trump. I could give a shit about the Democratic Party, the Republic. This is about what's actually happening. And Donald Trump made the biggest blunder that any president has made, maybe ever. And he doesn't have he would be smart of him to declare victory and pull out. I don't think he's going to do that.
Right.
So there's nothing but bad options here. Nothing but bad.
You're looking at it from the perspective of geopolitics and not insane Chabad cultists.
Correct. The problem is Donald Trump is completely controlled by Benjamin Netanyahu, and there's no doubt about this. So he has to resist. Everybody in his cabinet said don't do the Iran war. Everybody in his cabinet said don't do it, except, of course, for mental case Hegseth. Everybody else said don't do it. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said don't. General Kane said don't do it. Marco Rubio said don't do it. J.D. Vance said don't do it. Of course, Tulsi. Everybody said don't do this, and he did it anyway because Benjamin Netanyahu said do it. Even the head of the CIA, Ratcliffe, said don't do it. They all said no. And who did he listen to? Benjamin Netanyahu. Why? Because he's owned by them. They've got something on him. So that's what leads me to believe that we might not. This might get way worse. This might get way worse.
It's definitely going to get way worse.
And the people saying, "Oh no, this is good because then the United States sells more oil." That money doesn't go in your pockets. That money doesn't. When we sell more oil, our gas prices are rising. They're up to over $7 in California. That doesn't mean that you benefit. That means that an international globalist billionaire elites, they profit, not you.
I don't benefit from the Dow being up.
Exactly. So I just wanted to get that story out there. Iran's threats were not idle threats. They're actually pulling it off. Okay, over to, and if you want to hear my jokes about this, come see me in Atlanta, May 23rd. Raleigh, May 24th. We'll also be in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, May 16th and 17th. And then Spokane, Washington, Tacoma, and Levittown, New York, June 26th and 27th. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. See you there. Come see me on tour in Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Atlanta, Raleigh, North Carolina, Spokane, Tacoma, and Levittown, New York. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.